Hey JP, if you were to design a granular, what would be in it and what would make it the best? Well, first of all, I don't think there is such a thing as a best granular fertilizer. But I suppose the biggest thing about it would be to just make sure you got everything in there to meet the nutritional needs of the turf. Like, that's all it would really be about. Probably at the end of the day, basic blends, which is something that we've done for people on the pro level before, usually utilizing blenders out there who have certain things, but I mean, simple stuff like a 2210 and things like that, just to get out what the turf needs at the certain growth cycles. I mean, basic mixes like triples and stuff like that, I think are a great offering. And really, if I were to do something like that, it probably would only contain 4 things as far as nutrients go. As far as primary and secondary, I would just do NP and K, obviously, and then probably sulfur. Everything else that goes beyond that and moves beyond those materials, I would rather put out in the liquid no matter what. It doesn't matter if you are just a granular guy. If you're going to start putting out minors and things like that, it's better to use a liquid or a soluble material and get it on the leaf tissue. So I would probably leave that out. For sure, I would use the reacted humates, absolutely. Having that just higher CEC material to grab on to those nutrients that I'm putting down would be helpful. It'd be helpful for release rate. It would be helpful for just the turf in general to have kind of a longer feeding. But I would probably keep it all pretty simple. Combination of urea and ammonium sulfate, potassium sulfate. That's where my sulfur would be picked up from. And then I would just, like I said, use some of these reacted humates to help kind of keep all of those things in place. Now, obviously, you're going to pick up a few trace elements and things like that from that humate material. Some iron, some potassium, some stuff like that. It's not significant enough to change the analysis, especially at the rates that would be going down, because, you know, you'd be applying at standard fertilizer rates, and that would just be sort of in there at a lower rate. You know, maybe 10 to 20% of the total mix is about all I would probably have something like that in there. And then we would still go after the main, you know, biggest growth benefits out of using biostimulants through a liquid form. I think that ends up being the ultimate thing. Hey JP, just curious. Love your liquids, big fan. How come you guys don't have a granular product? That's actually a really good question. Years ago, it's coming up on I guess about 8 or 9 years ago, I did design a granular product. Put it together in the Greensboro plant. I really, really liked it, but scaling it at the time, there was no way we could do it. We couldn't fund that, and after kind of going through the metrics of all of that and what we would need to produce, how much space, how much material, and how to logistically get it out and about around the country, I shelved it. And that doesn't mean that it's been taken off the shelf and thrown away. In fact, some of these things, like what I spread around today, are something that we continue to sort of work on and play with and keep trying to decide where the next push is going to be, where we're going to either provide a material that can go out to bulk mixers and have them use it on site, which I really, really like that idea. The bottom line is just coming up with a clean material that works well that way. So sort of a kind of like a carrier in a way, I suppose would be the best way to look at that. So I would say that we're not out of that. It's just something that we're always kind of checking into to see if it makes sense yet to come into the marketplace, because we do produce a lot of material. We do have material that we could put into a granular form. I mean, we have that ability, but we're just not seeing the market right now in a big enough way to make that investment. With that being said, one of the things that we have been doing for the last little while that I'm pretty dang excited about, and I'll show it here before too long, is this top dressing material that we've been working at. It can be used for leveling, it can be used at seeding. It can be used kind of all over the place. It would be best if put down through like a topsoil spreader or sand spreader or something like that. It is very dark in nature. It is very rich in trace elements. It turns grass green when you put it out, which is really ultimately what everybody wants. And it is really, 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 really cheap. And I'm talking like sub $100 a ton. Again, the biggest issue with it is logistics, right? So we have hundreds of tons of this material, a lot of it bagged up in 1-ton bulk sacks, ready to go. If there were people in Georgia or in South Carolina, places that were close to the plant, you could come out there with a pickup truck and we could load one of those sacks down into the back of a truck, or if you have a dump trailer, we could load it with our front end loader, put it in a dump trailer, kind of however you want. If you wanted to take it for your top dressing, if you're doing aerating and seeding and you want some cool material that is, self-leveling and it's got all these goodies in it, we've got it. And we have tons and tons and tons. We've been sending it out to people professionally so that they could test it and see kind of how the responses are to the turf and things like that. And it's just overwhelmingly impressive, just the feedback that we're getting out there right now, especially since it's something that we've been trying to put together for the last, year at least, just messing with it and getting the ratios right and getting it the way that we want it to look. And I definitely think there's some commercial viability there. And honestly, if you're out there and that's something that you're interested in, shoot me an email down below if you want to come out and grab some of that material. We don't have it in small packages. It's either going to be loose, bulk, or it's going to be in the big tote sacks. Like, those are your options to come and get it. But you can email me and come on out, and we'll load you up and send you on your way, and you'll see some pretty impressive things. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to beat all that back there. This is the first of anything I've done this year, and I'm throwing out some of this material just to, have this conversation. And then you guys should check out these videos now, because maybe there's more that you could learn. It's pretty cool. But that's pretty awesome. See ya.